Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to top 10 good cartoons that went bad. Off rip. Good cartoons that went bad. Off rip. SpongeBob, hands down. Started off so good. First 3 seasons, fire. Then the movie came out. Then after the movie came out, SpongeBob, I ain't gonna say it went completely to shit. It was still good episodes after it, but like as the seasons went on, yeah, that shit started up because it started to turn into fucking with Squidward episode 2001, 2002 episode 2002 fucking with Squidward. That's really what it started turning into. It started turning into fucking with Squidward. And then you start feeling Squidward's pain a lot more. But that's just me though. Another cartoon that went bad. I guess you could say the Boondocks. That season 4 really wasn't it. So I guess you could say Boondocks. And another one. Oh, the Simpsons. The Simpsons. Most definitely. The Simpsons need to retire at this point. The Simpsons need to retire at this point. Family Guy need to retire at this point. South Park, they still hit or miss, but for the most part, I feel like when you run your course, you run your course. It's time to wrap it up, B. Dead ass, son. But anyways, though, without further ado, man, let's get right into this. Top 10 good cartoons that went bad.
You either end in your prime, or you live long enough to fall into seasonal rot. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today, we're counting down our picks for the top 10 great cartoons that got bad over time.
Oh no!
Not again!
We're about to do Jedi, aren't we?
Let's just get through this.
For this list, we'll be looking at some of the animated giants that started out strong, then just lost their zing along the way. They could have dipped in quality, overstayed their welcome, or could have just ended on an abysmal note. Some of these series may have miraculously bounced back later on, but the mistakes can't always be overlooked.
Then again, I stopped watching Fairly Odd Parents around like 2008, so of course I wouldn't know all the bad shit that happened.
Hey, I'll let him go, who cares?
Number 10. The Ren and Stimpy Show.
That's the most ridiculous.
This show been terrible. This show was never good. If you consider Ren and Stimpy good, I consider you a weirdo.
This thing I've ever heard.
As one of the founding Nicktoons for Nickelodeon, the Ren and Stimpy Show managed to entice viewers both young and old with its absurd and risque humor. However, John Kricfalusi, the creator and voice of Ren, was fired after season 2 due to creative differences and controversy.
Hey, what's happening to me? No.
Billy West did his best taking over as Ren while also voicing Stimpy, but the show's writing wasn't as fortunate. While it tried to emulate the bizarre humor the original seasons had, the series had lost that certain edge that made it truly shine. We'll say this though, at least it knew when to restrain itself, unlike the horrendous adult party cartoon reboot.
I don't know why I do these things to you.
Number 9. Doug.
11:45 a.m. Trailed pork chop all morning. Listen to sappy music, mopes a lot.
Among the first 3 Nicktoons, Doug brought something simple and unique to the network during its time. A quirky slice-of-life cartoon. After its Nickelodeon run ended, Disney bought the rights and produced a continuation series. While it did offer some welcome changes, like episodes centered on side characters, the bad outweighed the good in the viewer's eyes.
You're fired.
What? You heard me. Fired.
Along with Billy West not returning to voice Doug and Roger, the new era suffered from drastic and unnecessary changes, wasted opportunities, poor characterization moments, and too much build-up to the cinematic flop. Though Disney offered so much for his show, even creator Jim Jinkins agrees that the Nickelodeon run was far superior.
Now back to whatever it is you do.
Number 8. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Before we begin, I'd just like to point out to our viewers that although it may seem like the ghost planet behind me is really close, it's actually millions and millions of miles away. So don't worry, we're not going to run into it or anything.
In the 60s, Space Ghost was an animated crime fighter with superpowers, who vanished supervillains. This 90s Cartoon Network reboot had good intentions when it decided to bring back Hanna-Barbera's intergalactic superhero as the host of an adult parody talk show. With an animated host and characters but live-action celebrity guests, its comedy was subtle but funny. Earlier seasons kept things interesting by straying from the typical talk show formula.
We're all eating chemicals.
Yes, they help me do my job.
And what do you do?
I fly and save planets from peril.
Later seasons tended more towards spoofs, absurd humor, and surrealism. That is, until the money dried up and the AOL-Time Warner merger changed things. Despite a move to Adult Swim, the series never seemed able to be as free or as weird as it was in the good old days.
Where you learn that? Batman Fantasy Camp?
I never went there.
Hey, Zorak, get out the diary.
Your Bat Diary.
Zorak.
Another spectacular day at Camp Batman.
Put it away.
Number 7. Super Jail.
Franchise, of course. A super jail on every corner of every town, of every state, of every nation!
One of Adult Swim's most unique programs offered a demented sense of whimsy. While light on the story, it guaranteed a generous amount of gruesome violence and crazy expressive animation. Around season 2, the madness began to slow down. The violence, while still present, was toned down slightly. Most of the characters were given backstories all of a sudden, and they tried to include story arcs that didn't amount to much. Season 3 tried to combine both previous seasons' styles, focusing on character development while bringing back the mass murders. But the change in animation didn't sit well with many. Not every cartoon needs to have depth. Sometimes we just want a fast, simple bloodbath. Number 6. Teen Titans.
Beast Boy, I'm not going back. I can't.
What? Why can't...
I never saw anything wrong with the original Teen Titans. The original Teen Titans, there was never nothing wrong with this show. The show was fine, just the way it was. I don't see why people nowadays have this, it's not as good as everybody makes out to be. Well, then what was it supposed to be?
Because she's not your friend. She's my apprentice.
It's better than Teen Titans Go.
The original Teen Titans series remains one of Cartoon Network's biggest milestones, perfectly blending action and character development with comedy. However, Season 3 suffered due to low ratings and a weak story arc. Season 4's story arc kicked things up a huge notch, which unfortunately left Season 5 feeling underwhelming. While it was still enjoyable, the finale, Things Change, left so many cliffhangers that would never be answered. Not even in the epilogue movie.
Sometimes you want to see something that isn't there.
The ultimate nail in the coffin was how instead of producing a 6th season to resolve said cliffhangers, Cartoon Network would instead greenlight a comedic reboot of the Titans, which would become the bane of any hardcore fan's existence.
That's how it ends?
And there is no 6th season to resolve the plots hanging from the cliff?
You ended that show? You monster.
Number 5. Family Guy.
Aren't you a little young to be traveling alone? Aren't you a little old to be wearing braces?
While by no means family-friendly, Seth MacFarlane's magnum opus knew how to draw in a crowd with its hilarious parodies and social commentary. Thanks to high ratings and fantastic DVD sales, the show made a triumphant comeback after getting cancelled twice. However, as the series continued, those good old-fashioned values seemed to disappear. The humor suffered greatly due to a heavy reliance on cutaway gags and overly preaching Seth's personal political views.
If I screwed up so bad, how come I'm a billionaire?
Billionaire? Please, you're worth 700 mil on the high side.
Worst of all, the characters became unbearable and needlessly cruel, and poor Meg is usually their lightning rod. Seth himself has admitted he wishes the series would end, but no matter the needless shock value, Fox refuses to give it up.
Bye-bye, American situation comedy with drawings.
Number 4. The Boondocks.
You can't tame the white supremacist power structure with cheese!
Oh, yes, I can!
No, you can't!
Yes, I can!
Based on the comic strips by Aaron Magruder, the Boondocks was renowned for satirizing socio-political and racial views through the eyes of a young kid. 4 years after the season 3 finale, a 4th season was produced without Magruder's involvement. This ended up being a costly mistake.
That's it. Now we really are doomed. You know he's only gonna make it worse, right?
A show once full of hard, thought-provoking messages was reduced to using forced humor with no real insight, stealing the focus away from Huey, and sucking away most of the other characters' depth. The series finale is ultimately the worst of all, demonizing two groups over a petty reason, and then just ends. Unsurprisingly, viewers rejoiced when the series' suffering ceased in 2014. However, just 5 years later, news surfaced that a 2020 TV reboot with Magruder's input was in the works.
Can't do it.
What?
No way, man. Give me.
And now we don't know where the fuck Boondocks is at this point in time. They saying that it may get picked up, it may not get picked up. There was episodes already made, blah blah blah, such and such. It's like, yo, it's like, are we getting the Boondocks or not? Yes or no? If we not, then just say we not. Jesus, that's all we need to know.
Get out of here. I ain't trying to be around these retards.
Number 3, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oops. I guess I ripped my pants again.
The little square dude won the hearts of both kids and adults with his likable personality and entertaining stories. The 2004 feature film could have seen the series end on a high note, but Nickelodeon had other plans. Though Steven Hillenburg left production, the show pressed on, for better or worse. The writers resorted to rehashing old episode plots and relied more on mean-spirited humor over the show's original lighthearted spirit.
And all I did was sell the same old Krabby Patties and call them new.
Do you mind? I'm trying to make a money angel here.
Ooh, money angels.
Added to this was the fact that the cast of fun, relatable characters became one-note imitations, Patrick easily being one of the worst examples. While it can't return to its golden age, fans claimed that Hillenburg's return helped Nick's favorite cash cow to improve. At least it did until the creator's death in 2018. Number 2, The Fairly OddParents.
Where'd you get all this stuff? Internet? Inheritance? I inherited the internet.
In its golden days, Butch Hartman's crowned creation followed the zany adventures of an average kid and his fairy godparents. It originally ended in 2006, but Nickelodeon ordered another season, and then things turned ugly.
We're on it. Doesn't anyone say goodbye anymore?
From then on, the characters became less relatable and charming, not to mention the constant addition of bland main characters growing tiresome. Worst of all, the once witty and silly writing that often knew how to work in a moral was downgraded to cheap pop culture jokes and potty humor, usually going against this series' original continuity and mythos. During its 10th season, the show introduced a new character while removing others, changed from traditional to flash animation, and moved to Nicktoons. But that season was ultimately its last.
Chloe's making the rest of us look like losers. I am not a fan, and believe me, no one else is either.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified. Number 1, The Simpsons.
Most definitely had to be The Simpsons at number 1. Had to be. This show needs to come to an end. Let it die, please. It's time to let it go, Fox. It's time to let it go.
For the love of God! For the love of God! Please! What more do you want from me? Damn!
It's time to let it go, Fox. For real. Just let it go, dog. We done with The Simpsons, man. We've been done with The Simpsons. You gave us a movie, we done. What more can you do with the show at this point besides running it into the fucking ground? This shit ain't even ran into the fucking ground. This shit just in the dirt at this point, bro. Just let it die. Fox, just let it die, please. It's legendary. It's iconic. It's had its ups, its downs, its greatest moments, its worst of the worst. Just let it die. We can appreciate the reruns. Trust me, we will have no problem appreciating the reruns.
Ay, caramba!
Idly hope. Excellent.
In the beginning, The Simpsons was beloved by viewers everywhere for its smart humor and relatable situations, not to mention so many quotable catchphrases. There are still debates about when the series' seasonal rot began after over 2 decades on the air, but as time moved forward, fans began to notice a dip in the show's quality.
What I did was wrong, but I'd do it again.
The stories began to feel less real, the celebrity appearances became more frivolous than meaningful, and the humor became less intelligent, often bordering towards mean-spirited or sucking the charm out of once identifiable characters. On top of it, they're often reduced to rehashing old plots, further proving that the family really has done it all, except finally end.
So anyway, I'm strangling him. And I said to Bart...
Wait, hold on a moment. You were strangling your son?
Yeah, strangling. I mean, it's not the only tool in my parenting toolbox, but it's the sharpest.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Most definitely. A lot of these shows need to end. Nickelodeon needs to let SpongeBob die. I don't know who said we need the Fairly Odd Parents back. Let that shit die too. Then you got goddamn Family Guy, that needs to go away as well. Fox, let these shows die. Nickelodeon, let these shows die. Just let everything have its send off, dog. We don't need shit to stay on the air for that long. That's why it gets that's how it gets cherished more often. You see all the shows from the 90s that no longer exist. We cherish them now. We cherish those shows from the 90s because they're not on the air no more. We can't cherish the fucking Simpsons. You can't cherish the fucking Family Guy or SpongeBob. You can't cherish these shows because you won't let them in, so we can embrace them embrace their legacy for what they are and what they've done. So how are we supposed to take a show and embrace it for what it was if you're not even gonna give us a chance to, if you're not even gonna end it? It hurts the brand. It really does. But anyways though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. I will see you all in the next one. Till then, peace out.